How about that cigar? Guys, welcome this evening to episode number 80 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching us live on YouTube or Facebook right now, please take just a second, share us out to your favorite Facebook cigar group, share us out to your feed, and spend a little time with us this evening. As always, join in with the comments, join in with the questions on the show live tonight. You may notice that I'm flying solo. Garrett is not feeling well this evening, so you guys have me this evening. But as always, we have a great special guest coming up in just a few minutes. And as always, guys, we are coming to you live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. And in 2019, Drew Estate celebrated an important milestone with the global introduction of the Acid 20th anniversary, and now the Acid 20 Bronxzilla, an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade offering that will be available exclusively through Alliance Cigar Company. Wrapped in a creamy smooth Connecticut shade cover leaf over Indonesian binder and rich Nicaraguan filler, Bronxzilla is packed with bold flavor and aroma. Each 5x54 Robusto, it's blinged out in chrome foil and packed in a 20-count box emblazoned with the Acid 20 logo. For more info, please visit drewestate.com and alliancecigars.com. So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for episode number 80. I can't believe we're already at 80 episodes of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you guys, as always, so much for being a part of it. And so, Garrett and I normally right about now, we talk a little bit about sports. I make fun of them because the Vikings are terrible, and the Vikings had a bye week this week. So if you guys are following your favorite NFL teams or your favorite sports teams right now, the Vikings had a bye week. The Packers beat the Texans, so I'm happy about that. They seem to be playing well again. The Texans are not fantastic this season, so it wasn't exactly a very tough test, but my team seems to be back to form. If you would have told me that at the end of week 7 of the NFL, the only undefeated team left would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would have called you a liar and laughed in your face. But that's where we're at. For better or worse, crazy as it may seem, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only undefeated team left in the NFL that I'm aware of. So if you're a Pittsburgh fan, good on you, good on your team. And the World Series Game 6 is in progress as we speak. It's been a great series so far. I'm hoping very much for a Game 7, not just because I want more baseball, just because I have a soft spot in my heart for Tampa Bay. I'd love to see them take the series home and win that. The end of Game 4 was awesome. If you haven't seen the end of Game 4, go check it out on YouTube. It was just incredible. So a lot of fun to watch. So. And again, join us with questions and comments in just a few minutes here. We're going to bring on our special guest of the evening. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, special guests on How About That Cigar Live are brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, President and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz, believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would please put your hands together, welcome to the show for the first time to How About That Cigar Live from Carolina Blue Cigars, Christopher Moore. Brother, what is going on? How are you?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. We just get dark. I'm in the garage. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Mostly, I don't have the home humidor, to smoke in. So, but I'm usually outside most nights, and it is a very nice night tonight in North Carolina. So I was like, wow, it's a good night for an interview and a good night to smoke. I'm good, actually. Very busy lately, but doing very well. How are you been? It's been a while since we talked.
It has been a while since we talked. It's been good. We just like everybody else, we're figuring out the the ways to live now in this sort of different world. And kids are doing great. Wife's doing great. Garrett, unfortunately, is a little under the weather right now. But, we wish him the best for a speedy recovery. And hopefully he doesn't have the Rona. Hopefully it's just a little cold. And he'll be able to get past that quickly.
Cold,
but,
yes.
it happened. I had a kind of a
It
nasty
is.
cold a few weeks ago. Fortunately, it hit me on a Thursday, so by the time the show rolled around the following Tuesday, I was good to go. So so you're broadcasting with us live from your home in North Carolina. What are you smoking right now?
I am smoking a Habano tonight. Carolina Blue Habano. It's oddly enough, I haven't smoked it in a while, and probably because we sell so many of them, they're on back order right now. So I said, let me go ahead and see what the buzz is about.
Well, that's
So yeah, I'm
the same
smoking one.
one.
I probably
No, I was just gonna
yeah.
say it's the
If you
same one that
smoking,
I'm firing
there
up
you
right now.
go.
So just getting her going right now.
Yeah, it's actually a Habano Maduro 2000 with a Old Dominicano binder and four fillers in there, my friend. Four fillers.
So one of the things we like to do every time we have a show, and again, for our viewers, please, if you guys got questions, comments, just want to give a shout out, go ahead and put those in the comments. We'll get them up on the screen. But Christopher, we want to know, about you and kind of your origin story as far as, your love for premium cigars. So for the first piece of it, take us back to that first time that you remember sitting down and firing up a hand-rolled premium cigar. What it was you smoked, if you remember, and what the experience was like for you.
Well, my first experience was probably my first day before I went to basic training. I can't really say it was a premium cigar. It was just something I kind of grabbed out the grocery store. I can't even remember the name of it. Uh, now that I'm deep in the business, I know it wasn't premium. It was probably some machine made uh, white owl thing or whatever. Because it was weird because the next day I wanted another one. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. It reminded me of like cigarettes. So it was something
Oh yeah.
heavy, and I didn't smoke the next one because it was what I was gonna do was I bought two. So I said, I'm gonna smoke one on the way in because this is like a milestone in my life, and then I'm gonna smoke one when I finish my training, my AIT advanced initial training. So I never smoked it, the second one, um, and oddly enough, I found it in the trunk like about 15 years later that I was cleaning out. Like, wow, this is that cigar that I was gonna smoke. It was crazy, but in between there, I smoked, and on deployments and just my background is tobacco.
Yeah.
I work tobacco fields in North Carolina and other places, and so I'm kind of, but tobacco in North Carolina is for chewing and cigarettes. So
Yeah.
that's my whole little makeup before I really dove back into the business of tobacco.
So what? Tell us where you, which branch you served with, and
Hmm.
where you spent your time while you were in the service.
Uh, Army, 30 years, you name it, I've been there. Deployed 4 times, Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, spent some time in Korea, Panama, Germany, just everywhere. Just
Yeah.
even out, oddly enough, I was even out in South Dakota for a bit, even out there for a bit, which was kind of it was an interesting little stopover there. That's what I call it.
You
And
weren't
and
in
I
South
really
Dakota in the
learned a
winter,
lot when
were
I
you?
was out there. Really, say again.
Were you in South Dakota in the winter? I hope not.
I was actually there. I got there in this spring. I was there for like a year, so I was spent part of the like spring and part of the summer and then the winter. The winters were crazy because it would I was at Rapid City, South Dakota. So, it's different than Sioux Falls. Of course, you know that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really wet in Sioux Falls. It's really dry in Rapid City. So when it would snow, the snow would just stay on the ground for months, and it would just never melt. Then you had to wear sunglasses because the glare from the snow, and it was crazy. But at nighttime, you had to have a block heater in your car because it would just freeze up. 'Cause you didn't really need a big coat. You just have both to keep you warm, but you would get so cold so quickly because it was so dry. So it was amazing little time out there. I went to the Indian reservations and stuff, places I never thought I would be, and that's kind of how the military was. I was just in places I thought I would never be, and I'm grateful for it. And
Yeah.
and I and I,
Well,
and
we're
I, I don't look back.
as not a military man myself, but family members who served, and I have great respect for everybody who serves and wears a uniform. So thank you for giving that time to serve your country and serve us as citizens of this country. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah, little Havana man, he got a nice little hookup here in Charlotte. You should see it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you some pictures. It's awesome. It's an awesome little thing he has there going on. But
Yeah.
we're gonna build a nice little friendship.
No, it's great. We got some good people saying hello. So I'm trying to put up the hello comments in here. So tell me about when you decided you were going to start uh, Carolina Blue Cigars. Was it how did the genesis of that come about? Was it were you working in other areas of tobacco? Did you ever work for other cigar companies or spend any time retailing cigars, anything like that?
No, my background was just working the fields mostly in tobacco, so I kind of knew the whole process like, from the field part. So the way that it started, I was still in the military actually, and I'm a huge golfer. Like I was playing in tournaments like everywhere that I could play when I could squeeze in. I was actually playing in a tournament in Dominican Republic. So I was winning, and I was close to scratch golfer. So I was like a amateur golfer. I was on an amateur golf tour, and during the time in the military, so it's kind of crazy. So I would just like take leave on a Thursday, and I would fly over and do something and come back. But my uncle was over there, and he's like, "Hey, you know about tobacco. Did you ever think about doing cigars?" I'm like, "Man, I'm not doing no cigars because my dream was after I retired, and I had maybe 2 years left before I was retired. This was like 2014, 15 time frame. Like, man, I'm not doing no tobacco because I knew how hard it was,
Yeah.
and I smoked, here and there, so I knew the whole gamut of how to grow it and the processes, and I knew all that stuff. And plus, I have a finance background, so I pretty much know how the business is going to work. So during that time, he's like, "Hey, you want to get into tobacco? How many people smoke cigars? Playing golf?" I'm like, threesome for maybe two, one at the most, at the least, should I say? He's like, "Oh, you should try to get a cigar." I'm like, man, I am not trying to do cigars. My thing was to go and retire, go somewhere and teach golf and play golf all day everywhere. Just that's all I wanted to do, just play golf. And
Yeah.
that's how deep I was in it. And I said, "Come on, I think you'll do great, because you already know, how things work." And I'm like, So I said, "Let me think about it." So I thought about it for like maybe about 2 weeks or something like that. And so I'm like, "All right, let's go for it." So at that time, he knew my previous blender, which we still cool to this day, Francisco, and we hooked up at that time, and he kind of got me back into the routine of the whole industry again. I'm always asked. I was Once I jump in, I'm gonna start asking questions to get myself mentally prepared. So with my side of knowing from the golf aspect, because that's kind of how I was looking at it. I was like, oh, I can do this on the side with my golf thing. And, I'm like, all right, make sure you give me some samples and I'll just hand them out while I'm on the course and just have people, critique it, you know. So I did that for like a year. So I said, you can't give me garbage because these people that I play with, they smoke really good cigars. He's like, all right, cool. And and I was smoking a little bit here and there, but not as much as I am now. But I knew what good was and what bad was, and then so we did that for like a year. So I marketed the brand for like a year before I actually released it. So then about 8 months in, I said everybody's like, "Yo, this is really good. You should really try to put it on the market." This was like 2015, 2016. I'm like, let me just keep going. And by that point, Francisco was getting me more into the factory aspect. So I was getting my mind back into the factory as far as, the tobacco and the blends and just get my whole mind wrapped over what I'm about to partake into again, from my childhood. So
Hmm.
I started saying, let me get to some brick and mortars and see what they think. And it was like, yo, this is really good. You should, try to market. I'm like, eh. Then I had to go and start my research. Even though I was doing my research already, then I started, the whole process of like, all right, let's do it. And then, that's how it just formed on that whole aspect. I just did all my due diligence as far as getting the company to see if I had a good product before I would even just market it. I didn't just want to do a cigar just to have like I got a cigar. If I'm gonna do it, I want it for a domestic approach to it. I wasn't just gonna have it just to be selling out the back of the trunk or on the golf course. Give me here's some sticks for the golf course. If I'm gonna do it, it's gonna do it for the long run.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
our relationship started growing because we were both really into what we were doing. And, he understood how serious I was, and, with the whole marketing, the boxes, everything was a process. I'm very strategic. Um, I'm very, particular about what I do. So, then he saw that I wasn't just a guy coming in like, here, take 5,000 and make me a whole bunch of cigars. I'll take them back and, they're mine. So I
Yeah.
was very particular about like, all right, let's talk about these blends. Let's do something. And at that time, before I really started to get into it, I started smoking everybody else's stuff. I really wouldn't smoke mine. I would just smoke and see what everybody was talking about, like, the Drew Estates, the LFDs, a lot of Dominican cigars. I was just smoking
Yeah.
everything. And then I would go back, and then we go back and like, no, let's do this. I don't want the same cigar as this, and blah blah blah. So then we came up with something very classic. I said I needed to transition. I said I needed to be boutique. Anybody can give you a one-trick pony. I don't want a one-trick pony. I want to do transition. I want to have this, this, this. This in the middle, this at the start. So he started then he started teaching me a little bit more about the blending process. That's kind of where I started getting back into what was going on, and that's how the first three cigars were born from that point right there. So,
Okay.
and yeah,
So Garrett chimes in saying sorry couldn't be there. So yeah, Garrett, we wish you the
yeah,
best.
yeah, yeah.
Doing, brother. He's I I have this feeling he's sitting back like eating like ribs or some awesome cut of steak or something right now, but no, he's feeling pretty rough.
Pretending he's sick. I'm going to call out. No, I know Garrett would be here if he
Yeah.
just from the conversation that we had in the past. I know
Oh
he's a
yeah.
diehard guy, so I know he is
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely sick, definitely sick. So
So
yeah,
Leo, our
so
friend from Barrels and Leaves, has a great question. He wants to know how the Tobacco Business Magazine article came about.
from the article, well,
Yeah.
it's actually that was a great article, and a shout out to my man editor Reed. That was a thing that I was very humble about. Um, it actually, from that aspect, helped the factory. I want to say more than me, which was great. The factory I'm at now, at El Fuente, down in Villa Gonzalez region. That's a new factory I'm at. And that's what I wanted to do because when I first, we kind of skipped ahead, but it's fine. After my separation with my first factory, those guys have been like family from the beginning, and I wanted to do as much as I could to promote what they're doing because they're making some outstanding cigars, as you can see from this the Culture cigar, which is one of ours that comes out of that factory, and some other ones I won't mention. Uh, but and when I first walked in there, it was like, why didn't I find you 3 years ago? You know what I'm saying? But you have to go through your trials and tribulations, and they opened my eyes to a whole lot of different things that they were doing as far as the blending. They have their own feels. They have a different kind of way they do things, very professional. Not saying that the other factory wasn't. It was just we were at the same point in our growth, and they understood it. I came with some things, they came with some things, and like, hey, let's just make this thing work. And we talk like constantly, like all the time. Like I said, I was just there 2 weeks ago, maybe, and there for a week. I spent like a bunch of time there. That's something that I do. I trench myself into who's with me. They're a partner. They're my partner. So I can't say, all right, I'll see you in 6 months. Just send me some stuff in the meantime. No, it's not gonna be like that with Carolina Blue. It's like we're gonna walk through this thing together. They're gonna advise me. I'm gonna let them know what's going on this side of of the world. And from that article, a new partnership is formed between the both of us. So we're gonna do a lot of things together in the future. And I'm not going to put any flames on their fire even more. They have blown up tremendously in the last 3 months because of one, the article, two, the cigar that's come out, and the others that are made there. And so they're actually a huge player right now in the Dominican Republic region right now. So I'm happy about that. And we're doing great things, and I'm looking forward to a long, 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 long relationship with these guys. They're like
Yeah.
definitely family with me now.
Well, and it's one of the things we talk about so much on the show is that the cigar industry, more so than a lot of other businesses, is so relationship driven because there's something about the culture
Yes,
of
it is.
cigars that brings relationships together, and really you form kind of deeper bonds than you would elsewhere. And um, who are some of the
Correct.
people along the way that have directly mentored you in premium cigars, and also just maybe even a couple people who are inspiring to you, and people who are maybe big names in the business that you try to emulate them, just not in terms of duplicating their cigars, but just duplicate, you want to emulate their work ethic and
Right.
their style and that kind of thing.
Well, of course, Francisco. I can't say enough about him to like when we were together. He stayed at my house. I stayed at his house. His kids played with my kids. We're still very connected. The next guy I would have to say is Preston at Taylor Smoke here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
He really gave me my first shot. He stood by me. From my relaunch. He stood by me from the time that I just like, hey, I have to redo things. Hanging there with me. I have to say Raymond at Maduro Cigars in the Bronx. Those two guys I could probably talk to them, about anything and everything. Um, just newfound friendships I have now with Leo at Barrels and Leaves, Malik with Smoke Easy, Cigar Brad, especially during COVID, just a whole lot of people now. It's just been, just talking, and one of my friends here in Charlotte is Damon that we talk a lot of cigars to. Um, and I have to definitely thank the small team that I have of like work, which is Janine.
Eso emergente va a empezar todo. No, porque se cepilla, se baña, se usa de buscar, se siente right. Mira, su banda child.
Hold up. Something just hold up. We lost your microphone. I don't know if something happened there, but we lost your audio. And now I'm hearing, I can't hear you, but I hear myself on repeat. All right, give me 1 second. Here. I'm gonna have you, Christopher. I'm gonna have you reconnect the broadcast studio. So, hold on one second. Now you guys listening and watching. I'm also got echo issues because I hear myself like 3 seconds after I talk. It's
okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I had to take my Bluetooth off. Somebody drove up and took my Bluetooth away from me.
Okay. And then all of a sudden I started echoing like crazy. I'd talk and 2 seconds later I'd hear myself. It was messing with my head.
I just cut it off so it'll be better now. So
okay.
to get that's the crazy part when you have Bluetooth and it connects automatically to the car. It just takes away your so the one person that I really connected to was as far as what he was doing was Epic Cigars. Like when I first started getting in the game, Dean, I kind of watched what he was doing. It's like, wow. And it was funny because every time I would see him, he would be like on the sailboat, jet ski, he would be doing all the cool stuff. I was like, but I knew there was more behind it. Then I ran into Sean Williams when he came to Charlotte, and we had a discussion. And he's like, "Oh, I heard about you guys. You're doing the right thing, blah blah." So, and it's kind of I kind of look at everybody what they're doing, but I also understood that I'm giving a product to the customers. So I tried to, as of smoking everything that I was smoking, to give, customers something that they can enjoy. That's the whole premise behind the Carolina Blue experience. And that's the premise behind the boutique. I wanted to give, since I'm making something that larger companies, I don't want to say didn't want to make, but more so where, they have a bigger presence in the game, so they can just go how they want to do their profile. But I wanted to give somebody something different. I wanted my blender to get out of the routine of making the regular old Dominican cigar, and I kind of listened to my customers in the beginning, and I tried to put all that together, and it worked. It works. It's working now. As far as the cigars, a lot of people are like, you don't talk about your cigars. I'm like, no, why should I? You're the customer. You tell me how you like it. So I don't really. It could be a curse. It could be something wrong I'm doing. I probably could promote it more, but I don't think the customer wants to see me like, oh, the cigar is great. It's the best thing since, lemonade and iced tea. So I just let the customer tell me, even when they buy it, they're like, what's the profile? I'm like, smoke it, and then we can talk about it later. Or I'll tell you later, because I want you to get your own experience. Because what the experience I'm getting right now from smoking this, it could be way different than what you're getting over there. So I want you to enjoy the experience that the factory, Carolina Blue, El Puente is giving you in these cigars.
Yeah.
And once we started coming up with these blends, so I'm not going to talk about notes. I'm not going to talk about, I'm going to tell you how many fillers and all that, what it is, but I'm not going to talk about anything else because I want you to enjoy what the cigar bakery, and that's what I call the factory, is given to the public.
Yeah, and I like that. Cigar bakery, I like that.
Yep.
So there's a good question here. How tough has it been trying to narrow down the new blends that you're going to offer for the Carolina Blue line? And that's part of the blending process that I've always been fascinated by, is because I think I know I didn't know before I saw it firsthand, and I know a lot of people don't realize how many test blends get run through the testing process before they get ruled out, and how minor a difference can be between like test blend number 11 and test blend number 13 can be like just the most tiny little difference, but it in the end, the smoking experience for the smoker, that makes enough difference where it's important. So how tough was it narrowing down those blends?
I could say the toughest one that I actually did was the Lorena cigar that I'm still trying to recreate to this day. People heard me talk about it before, and some people have smoked it. They would say that's probably one of the best cigars they ever had, and I can say to this day it's the best cigar we've ever created. That blend took about a month. I mean, like I stayed in DR for like a month trying to make that cigar. The blends that we have now, 2 weeks. 2 weeks of me being in Dominican Republic, but in between time, it was like, hey, I don't like this. How about let's put some more here, and then it was just a back and forth struggle. Then but they just kept coming out with like more and more stuff, and I'd be like, nah, nah, like nah. And so because it's like even when I went there last week, they had like 5 new cigars waiting. Like, I want you to try these. So I was like, I don't like that one. I don't want this one. Wow, this is going to be good in December. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I had some that I already, that I was already working on that that they smoke. I'm like, wow. So then they would go and like, I can recreate it. Let me try it. So I was like, all right. So he would, they would come back with something like very interesting. And it's just all about evolution. It's like, I'm always looking for not the next big cigar, but like the next thing that should develop or evolve. Like, let's mix different tobaccos to bring something different and unique. Like the Nicaraguan blends, it took a while going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Even though some of the cigars were good, but I was like, nah, not that one. Nah. Because I know I'm smoking the cigar as a customer. I'm not smoking it as the owner. I'm smoking it people when they go with me, whoever goes with me to the factory, they'll see me. I'll just be sitting in the chair, and the blends that we come up with, I'll just sit there and smoke it. Take me an hour. I could be doing something else with my time, but I'm gonna smoke the cigar like somebody just paid for it, and I want to see what they're getting. Because I'm very biased. My palate is particular in a sense, but I also am not biased to what I smoked. I'll try anything. And I'll smoke it like, what is this trying to do? Do I taste that? Do I taste, oh, okay, this gives me, oh, I feel that. Oh, it's earthy. Okay, that's good. I like that. I'll buy it again. Or like, nah, get out of here. So I'm always trying to figure out what the customer wants. One thing, I can smoke a very full body cigar and I can understand why people like that. I can smoke a mild cigar, understand why people like that, or I can smoke a medium cigar. But I want to give the full gamut from the novice to the veteran and give them a good experience.
Well, and that's we equate it to food a lot on the show. That we like all different kinds of food. I mean, you can have dessert foods, you can have spicy foods, you can have hearty foods, and everywhere in between. You don't always want to have the same thing. You want to have variety. You want to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you're in the mood for a milder, more kind of nuanced Connecticut shade wrap cigar. Sometimes you're in the mood for something kind of earthier, like a San Andreas wrap or something like that. Or sometimes you want to just go all out with lots of Ligero and have something strong and kind of spicy. So I think it's good and that way you give the smokers more options. You give them more things to choose from.
And that's one thing that when I walked in there, so I cannot stand San Andreas. I don't like it. So, but I knew that was a popular cigar, and I knew the tobacco is very reasonable to buy. So I know that's why it's on the market a lot. I wanted something. I didn't want to buy exotic tobacco. I just wanted to give, I wanted to make a cigar with Brazilian Apuraca, because I knew it was sweet, and then I could mix it up and make something spicy inside, and make it very, complimentary, where you'll get pepper and sweetness at the same time, and your palate is just dancing like, ooh, yeah, give me another one, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, because I knew, the big guys, they're like, okay, we give you something and we got to make a lot of these. And I'm a small guy, so I can make, 2,000. And then, it's like, all right, they're all gone. Or I'll get some more tobacco and keep making it.
Yeah.
So that was the premise that I looked at. It's like I can do something different, like the Dominican Pearl that you smoked earlier, like the Perfecto. Um, those are two extreme cigars from one gamut to the next. Like the Nicaraguan line, when we have the light shaders are more of a fuller profile than the darker shades. So it's like, they were like, oh, this is a dark one, it's gonna be strong. Now it's gonna be like it's totally reversed. So, that's something that I look at as well. I want you to taste what the region is giving you, and I try to stick with that, as much as possible.
Well, and like you said, you mentioned that you don't really care for San Andreas. It's not your thing. And I respect the hell out of that, because you'll even have chefs in the food world who maybe one of their most popular dishes somewhere out there is going to be a kind of food maybe that they don't like.
Right.
But they know that people are going to enjoy it. They know it's something, at least it's kind of a flavor profile that their customers are going to enjoy.
Correct.
So you didn't let that stand in the way. You said, okay, this at least this kind of flavor profile is something that people is popular. It's moving in cigar shops. And you knew that's another thing too. If you would have just come out with, a Connecticut, a Habano, a broadleaf, and a Raparaca, then you would have had people at like 3-4 times a day sending you messages saying, where's the San Andreas?
Correct.
So,
correct. You're absolutely right. So we stay basic. I could go Cameroon. I can go Honduran. It's so many routes that I can go. But I didn't want to go overboard. I just wanted to stay, enough where there's variety and the cigar that I'm smoking. And then I wanted to give everybody something. So now I have a range where 4 months down the line, I say, well, Chris, the Maduro's not doing well. Okay, let's pull that. Let's make something different, throw it up in there. So that's the flexibility that I'm like enjoying right now. It's like I'm like now, like we said earlier, the Habano, Maduro is on back order. So, but in the beginning, I introduced the box press. Everybody loved the box press. So now we're like at a standstill, like, okay, are we going to do the box press? Or are we going to go back to the, Robusto? So we're like, let's blend it and see what happens. So, I'm looking forward to what we come up with in the next 2 weeks, because we hopefully 2-3 weeks we'll get those back out on the shelf. But so far, whatever we put out there, people like enjoying it. So that's what really all that matters in the end.
Absolutely. I mean, if you, I don't know what your total production numbers are, but your goal is to sell all the cigars that are made under your name and have people enjoy those cigars,
right?
And go back to the factory and say, okay, we need, however many more, and they give you a production date. They say, okay, well, they'll be ready by, whenever. And that's what you want. You want the customers to come back and say, yeah, I want more of these. That's any product you make, you want the customer to come back and say, this is really good, I want more of these.
Right. And that's and we saw that like really early. So I'm like, hey, let's just go ahead and just stay, never get less than 60%. So now we're already getting ready, because they're getting ready to go on Christmas break soon in about a month. So I'm like, hey, let's just make enough to last us until January.
Yeah.
We'll do a nice order for Christmas. So when January comes around, we'll be full stocked. I don't have to worry about another 45 days. So what we're doing now is just preparing for January, February, March. And then, in February, we'll just prepare for the next quarter. So it's been working, really well. So they, I recognized it. They recognize it. I'm taking inventory. I'm like, damn, we selling a lot of cigars here, more than I realized. I'm like, wow, what happened to all the cigars? So, and it's a good thing. Do I wish they would go faster? I do and I don't. We're picking up some pretty nice clients that, I'm very strategic as far as how I want to do it. I don't want to be I would love to be all over the United States, but we're small right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to. In the beginning, that's what happened. We got so big so quick. Casa del Monte Cristo was one of our largest accounts, and I recognized that early. I'm like, wow, we cannot keep up the demand what they're asking for and service everybody else.
Yeah.
So I said, next time around, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take it slow, build it. If people in other parts of the United States want to buy, then I'll get someone to do that for me, and I'll just service them or the other 2 or 3, and it's kind of working. It's the same in the end. I can have 40 stores, but I can have 3 catalog shops doing the same volume. What's the difference? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's the difference? And I can just supply them.
And you could have, I mean, it could be growth can be a blessing and a curse depending on how you handle it. And it sounds like you're handling it the right way, because if you can disappoint customers a few different ways. You can disappoint them by just not having the product available, or you could disappoint them by trying to push product too soon and then have quality control issues and that kind of thing. And in the end, I think it's smart to spread it out a little bit and give give some more people a chance, because then the word of mouth, especially with social media, man, the word of mouth spreads, and people say, hey, have you tried Carolina Blue? No, I never even heard of them. Well, then they give one to their buddy, they give one to their friend, and they say, oh yeah, man, I got to go buy a 5-pack of these or find a box of these somewhere. So
and that's exactly what's been happening, and it's been great. And with the articles and some other social media shows and other interviews like yourself, and it's just the word is spread. And I appreciate, I'm appreciate being on anybody's show to spread, any kind of exposure to, the brand. It's funny how people, like you said, like, I never heard of it, let me try one. I'm like, all right, here you go, you're gonna call me back. Every time I say you're gonna call me back.
Yeah.
You sure about that? I'm like, yeah. Ring, hey, can I get it? I'm like, I told you. So, it's funny because I just got an account in South Carolina, and they ordered probably about 6 boxes last week, and he called me like, I'm out, I don't have any more cigars, can you give me something like tomorrow? Like, yeah, man, don't worry, I got you. It was funny. It's like, I didn't know they was gonna be that good. I'm like, I told you, but you didn't believe me. So it's kind of comical.
When was the first year that cigars were selling cigars under the Carolina Blue name? When did that actually
the day I retired, February 2017, and the first client was the Carolina Panthers.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy. It was a crazy time, and I'm getting ready, I'm excited, and the phone rings like, hey, Carolina Blue. I'm like, yeah, who's this? This is Mr. Davis from his wife actually called. We're having a golf event, and would you like to do the event? I'm like, how'd you get my number? That's the first thing I asked. I'm like, I wasn't even really out yet. So like, yeah, we saw you on the social media. I'm like, oh, okay. So they like, they was like, hey, they were going all through this vendor fee thing. I said, you know what? I'll do it for free. They're like, you do it for free? I'm like, yes. It's like, all the people that's there, your little $200 ain't gonna do me no justice. So yeah. I'll do everything for free. I'll lay it out really nice for you, and then don't worry about it. So after that, it just went, it's just business decisions you got to do sometime. And your first year, which I learned, you do a lot of giveaway of this and all right of that and a sample of this, and everybody will take a free cigar. You're so excited about your business. I think about 8 months in, I totally put a halt to that, like really quick. And even now, I'm very like selective on who I'll give a sample to, because they heard about you. I'm like, I get influencers all the time, like, hey, I can influence your cigar. I'm like, okay, you can influence it by buying some, and then we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? So, it just depends on your circle. If do I give free cigars away? Yes, I do. Here and there. And it just depends who you give it to, and understanding the circle that they have. But I'm just not gonna like, hey, I have 20 Instagram followers and I'm an influencer. I'm like, all right, cool. That's cool. So, or even a shop, it's like every shop I walk into, I'm not gonna like pitch my cigar at all, because it may not be the shop, for you. Some I'll approach and I'll say, hey, would you like Carolina Blue? They're like, I never heard of. Then they call me like, oh, we really like it. I'm like, all right. So I'm always at that. I'm really nice in the first round because I sought you out or you sought me out. Second round, it's business. This is business after that. It's like, oh, we got to go with the terms because you get me nice on the first time. Like, all right, let's do a box two. After that, it's on. It's business. Like, hey, you walked away from a deal. It's like you coming back for the car you wanted and somebody else put a nice price on it. Now you're trying to hammer me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, you got to come with the real stuff. If you really want me, you'd have took me the first time.
Right.
So, you no need to see the train moving. Now you want to jump on the train.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them, are good like that. And I appreciate their business. We have some good shops that I'm just getting some relationship with some connections of people like Leo and Cigar Brad and Smoke Easy, just because of word of mouth,
Yeah.
word of mouth.
So John wants to know where in South Carolina.
South Carolina, nowhere at the moment.
Okay.
Nowhere at the moment. I again, I'm so close. Let me back that up. Really, I didn't. If COVID wouldn't have happened, we all say that. The original launch would have been in April. So we're gonna do a launch here in Charlotte on the 13th. So I didn't want to do anything until I got that together. So there's sales on the internet and stuff like that, but I didn't really want to do any like let me run out there and just start to get a whole bunch of shops, which I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna be very selective. But I didn't want to like do any events until after this launches up. So for him, I have a couple of shops in South Carolina that I'm looking at, one or two. I want to revisit one that I used to go to a lot that really supported me back then and revisit them. But I have some on my mind that I want to take care of. Like I said, I don't want to be I don't want to saturate my brand.
Right.
I don't want to saturate it because we have something very special that we're doing, and I want not that I say that I want it to be hard to find, but I want it to be something that if it's too much out there, then I'm not going to be able to give you the total experience that I'm going to give you. So
what have from the that beginning 3 years ago, even into now, not even mentioning COVID because that's its own special case,
right.
But what have been some of the big obstacles that you've seen yourself encounter that you've had to find creative ways, business wise or relationship wise or whatever, that you've had to find ways to kind of overcome and move around or even bypass in some cases?
Well, the number one thing, and this is for a boutique guy, I just say this to all my boutique people. Tobacco is taboo to the merchant world. It's very taboo. Like however you're doing your sales or whatever you're doing, I finally, like after months, I say years, I'm gonna say years of searching, I finally have a merchant company that I don't have to worry about nothing anymore. Like, I would get funds held for 30 days and because they're like, oh, that wasn't a face-to-face transaction, it was just chaos. But now I finally have someone who takes care of everything. Like it's so secure. It's taking like a burden off my shoulders. It was worse than the FDA because at one point it's like how I'm going to sell if I can't always be in your face. I can't do a swipe to swipe. So for all the other brands out there other than the big guys, please check your merchant account. I mean, it might be working for you now. It worked for me for a little bit, but eventually they'll come and get you. So that's something that's very taboo, and I'm very thankful that I have a great merchant company now. Other than that, I was just like business as usual. It was more like marketing, just making sure everything was good to go. Other that was probably my nightmare every night. you know, I'm a financial guy, so my records had to be good. You know,
Yeah.
That was the probably the most scary part. Like importing, and I got my my importer's license, so now I don't have to really worry about a broker. You know,
Yeah.
if I need to cigars in 3 days, I have them in 3 days. I don't have to wait for a plane to fill up and wait 30 days for my cigars and say, hey, I need 2,000 cigars by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Bow, they're here
Yeah.
because I do them myself. And that was that was something that it forced my hand, because there were times when I needed cigars like right away, and I wouldn't get them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now I don't have to worry about it. So many things of just because of previous experiences helped me just be more, you know, on point. Whatever I need, my inventory stays, back order is back order. You can't help some things, but
Right. Right.
if I need something right away, customers don't have to wait anymore. And that's a blessing that, I don't have to worry about. And even
Yeah.
coming from Nicaragua, I don't really have to worry about it. There's a delay coming out of Nicaragua, but I don't have to wait as long as everybody else does. It
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
directly to me. So
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that's cool is you've found those ways to, because there are some things that you you don't necessarily have time for, and
right,
somebody else can maybe take on a certain thing for you that even in a certain way you have to identify those people who you say, okay, this person can actually do it and take it off my plate and probably maybe even do a better job than I can. But then there are those other things that you say, okay, I can handle this myself, and I know, at least for right now, with the place where the company's at right now, I'm the best person for this job, whether
right,
it's importing or what, like you said, whatever it
right.
is.
And that is as we start to, I'm always forward looking, and as I see things getting bigger, I'm starting to. That was one reason I started looking for different avenues of who's going to take my cigar, to relieve me of individual sales. I typically want to get out of that business. All of the bigger guys don't do it.
Right.
You can't buy cigars from their website. Um, does it take out of my pocket a little bit? But if you add up the time that you spend um, shipping and post office and just everything, it doesn't add up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? If I have somebody else doing it and I just supply them and I can just run the business other than having the business run me, then that's where I want to be at. Will I still do it here and there? Probably, but I want to get rid of it um, at about 70 to 80%. I really want someone else to do it. And I'm sure you heard of Smooth Draw
Oh
at
yeah.
one time. Yeah, he used to do my cigars at one time, and it was like when he started taking off, I'm like, thank you, you're God sent.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about if I'm on vacation or if I'm at the factory. Like 2 weeks ago, I was at the factory. I had about 30 orders come in, and I'm like, they're gonna be late. So then you have to go and make up for that and say, here, take some extra sticks. So you're looking at that time and you're giving away inventory because you're late. If I had that company already set, then I didn't have to worry. I could just stay there as long as I wanted to. So
Yeah.
and knowing that we both and are thinking the same way, and the company is Oxford Cigar Company. That they
Yeah.
we talk a lot. I really like those guys, and I think we'll do great together. So soon everything will be on their website, and people can just get sticks directly from them. If they want
Okay.
one stick, then I'm gonna revisit Casa del Monte Cristo or JR, in the upcoming weeks and get back with them again, and just
What
just
about
run Carolina Blue.
what about outside of the US? Do you have any presence outside of the US yet?
We had to buy. That was very difficult to do. We was working in Canada at one time. That was very difficult with the taxes.
Yeah, Canada's tough.
I haven't really. I'm open to it. Like I had someone from where did they call me from? I think they were in Scotland somewhere, and they wanted to get cigars there. I'm like, you gonna pay for you gonna pay for shipping? You know what I'm saying? So it's and a lot of things I have to set up, with the factory direct. And that's another thing is like, I've been working closely with, different distribution avenues with UPS and stuff like that. And they've been really great trying to help me out because they, when we have our discussions, they understand what I went through the first time. So they've been really great trying to help me out and get all the avenues as far as when the doors do open, that it would be a smooth process.
Yeah.
And, but that's something down the road. Am I looking to go overseas like right away? No, if it happens, I'm open for it. But right now, I think we're going to take things at small paces and chip away at the market and just give everybody great cigars.
So for and I appreciate that answer because we do have some people. We're grateful for our viewers and listeners outside of the U.S. We have a few people from Europe, Asia, Australia. So we're grateful for them. So for and for anybody really who's watching and listening right now, if there's not since you're a newer company, you don't have quite as many accounts as a lot of other companies, but there are going to be some places out there where if we want to get our hands on your cigars, where is the best place for us to, go online? And
Oxford Cigar. They ship everywhere. And and hey, you hit me too. If it's reasonable, if I can figure out from customs how to get it to you, I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you. The last thing I want the customer to do is pay an astronomical amount of shipping for such a we talking $50 or whatever you may buy for, and you paying $200-300 for a cigar and shipping. I mean, like, come on. I know you may want it that bad, but I mean, it's not that serious. I try to be. I think of it as me on the other side, like, it's just too much. My dog is over here going crazy right now. He wants me to play him, but I some people do it. Like, yeah, I'll buy it, no problem. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll try to find the best rate to get it to you, and without it being dry when it gets there, because I actually wrap everything with the packs and everything and try to keep it as fresh as possible. But after it leaves, where it ships, I don't know where they're gonna store it, so it's on its own. But yeah, Oxford ships everywhere, so that was another good decision that I made, because once he told me like, yeah, we ship everywhere, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there.
So for you, day to day, day in and day out, what's the cigar from your brand that you find yourself reaching for more than any other?
Oh, you would ask me that question, wouldn't you?
It's like picking a favorite kid or a favorite pet.
I know. To be honest with you, I'm like the Biggie. I'm like Biggie. Don't get high off your own supply. So I try my hardest
to not smoke them all.
Not to smoke. I usually just smoke every now and then to check for freshness and check for any flaws, or like, I'm not smoking 6 or 7 Carolina Blues a day or a week. I'll smoke a bunch of other stuff. Like, I smoke, I got a whole pack of Dappers the other day. I got some Warp cigars. I'm going to smoke them probably for the rest of the week. I just, Leo sent me a bunch. I'm going to work on his, and I just try to smoke everything else. So when I do come back and I smoke my own, I'm like, that's why everybody likes them.
Yeah.
So, and then when I do events and I'm out there and then people say, I smoked this, I smoked that. I'm like, oh, okay, I smoked that before. And then I was like, okay, this kind of fits that profile, or I don't have anything like that, but you might enjoy this one. And that's how the Nicaraguan was born too, because so many people were smoking Nicaraguan brands that they were looking for that profile. I'm like, but the thing about my Nicaraguans, in a sense, thanks to the factory as well, is they're not your typical like Agranosa cigar or your AJ Fernandez cigar or anything like that. It's still within the Carolina Brew profile of giving you something different. Like, how the hell did y'all make that? It's like, are you serious? This is what it is? I'm like, yeah. So It is, and that's what a boutique is supposed to do: give you something different than that's on the shelf that you can find anywhere else in the world. And that's what I want to give people: is something very, very, very different. That you can enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into our next segment for the week, and this week. Let's talk about our Smokabulary word of the week. And as always, guys, Smokabulary is brought to you by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez are managed under the watchful eye of Mr. Fernandez himself in order to ensure superior quality. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of premium cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So, viewers and listeners, this week, again, for the fourth week in a row, we've got a little bit more of a simple Smokabulary word, and this week's Smokabulary word is foot.
Foot.
So, Chris, when I'm talking about a cigar and I say the word foot, and this is just a random unbanded I had on my desk here that I grabbed.
You have a closed foot?
This one does not.
Okay.
This is just the foot is the end of. It's simple terms, viewers and listeners. The foot is the end that you light. That's it. So you could have a covered foot, which this one does not. You could have a regular cut foot like this one is. You can have a figurado that's got a tapered foot. You can have a shaggy foot. There's all different kinds of feet you can have on a cigar. The foot is the end that you light. It is not the end that you put into your mouth. You will be very upset and unhappy if you do that. Trust me. I may have done that once in my life.
I think I've done it once too, by accident.
It only took once.
Yeah.
So that again is a simple one, but that is this week's Smokabulary word, brought to you by AJ Fernandez. And now, guys, Garrett normally does this segment, but I'm going to power through it because I just couldn't have a show without Numero de los Muertos. So now it is time for Numero de los Muertos.
Uh-oh.
As always, guys, Numero de los Muertos is brought to you by Oveja Negra Brands. They bring you premium smoking experiences forged from tobacco time and talent. Comprised of Black Label Trading Company, Blackwork Studio, Dissident, and Emilio, Oveja Negra Brands provides smokers uncompromising blends renowned for their flavor and lasting impression. Oveja Negra, where art and tobacco collide. Join the flock. Visit ovejanegracigars.com to learn more. So, Chris, you don't know this, but we do a segment every week. Garrett does a segment every week called Numero de los Muertos, and we give a number, and you, normally me, but you and our viewers this week get to make guesses of what that number means as far as how many people died from what the cause of death was for that random number.
Oh, yeah. I remember you doing. Yeah, I remember you doing that. I remember watching.
So this week's number is 1,330.
Ooh.
And that number is in the U.S., an average number per year for about the last 15 years or so. The average number per year in the U.S., 1,330 people die from this in the U.S.
I would 1,330 people. Wow, 1,300 people. I know it's definitely not the flu.
Not the
more
flu.
More than that. 1,300 something very minor. Ooh. I am clueless. I am clueless. I want to say walking into traffic while texting.
No, I don't think it's that high. Chad, it's not hiking. It's not the flu. It's not
Yep.
shark attack. It's not gas grill accidents. It is not pneumonia. It is not falling out of a tree. I will say this. It is because Garrett always tries to find something that somehow relates to the person we're interviewing or just something related to the name of their brand. And I had to reach for this one like hard. So don't go digging too deep into saying it's directly related to Carolina or anything. I had to dig deep for this one.
What about jellyfish stings?
No, not. I think we did that actually. I think Garrett might have done that one already.
Okay.
So I'll say that it is directly related to the outdoors.
Not snake bites.
We did snake bites a while ago.
Carving pumpkins.
It's not carving pumpkins.
Definitely related to outdoors. Frost. What about what is it? Hypothermia?
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna get because it's basically freezing to death.
Okay.
That's so. In each year in the United States, about 1,330 people die of cold exposure.
Wow.
So and of all the people that die from exposure, way more. It's like 60% of them die from cold weather exposure, and 40% die from hot weather exposure.
Right.
So yeah, it's freezing to death. It could be hypothermia. It could be frostbite. That you know, and in a way, it could even, I suppose, be related to some other guesses came out like flu and pneumonia. Because if your cold exposure is so severe that it gives you, you know, a nasty case of the flu or pneumonia, you know, that's going to bring that on. So yeah, and between between 2005 and 2014, on average, 180 treat and release emergency department visits, and 15 cold related deaths.
Wow.
And that was was that on a monthly basis?
I would. Well, yeah, you said it's both heat and cold. It's just outdoor exposure.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's worse in the wintertime.
And it says 94% of all those admitted with exposure also had one or more unrelated health problems that were, you know, exacerbated by
the exposure. Yes, so, I can agree to that. Yep. Especially
so it's kind of interesting, you know, although it's a sort of a morbid segment we do on the show each week. It's kind of interesting to see because there have been some where the number's really low, and I fully expect that it would have been thousands of people a year die from something that Garrett named off, and then all of a sudden it turns out it's only 30 or 40. So
still, that's too many, especially when it's something that you could hopefully prevent.
Yeah, you know. Exactly. Yeah. So that is this week's Numero de los Muertos.
I'm gonna have to use that for Jeopardy.
Yeah. So Chris, a lightning round of some questions that aren't really cigar related. If you could choose to hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
one living for 10 minutes. Oh my God, that's a good question.
You get to just climb inside their head and hear what they're thinking.
My daughter.
Man, I'll tell you, I don't know if I'd have the strength to hear what my daughter's thinking on a daily basis.
Daughter on a daily basis, like
that
what the hell?
That would scare me. That would scare me to no end.
I can't really think of anybody else that I would want to hear their thoughts, because right now people are like really crazy right now.
That's a good one though. All right, Chris, if you were about to get into a fight,
yes,
what soundtrack music would come on?
What soundtrack music would come on? Hey, what's the last soundtrack I even listened to? Can I phone a friend? No. Let me see. Probably.
It could be any music at all. It doesn't have to be
Yeah. I'm trying to think
music.
of something.
Because you're making your own soundtrack for this fight scene.
Yeah, it would probably be "Win by J Rock. Yeah, that's what it would be. Yeah, that's what it would be. Because I'm about to bring out my other two friends with me if I'm getting ready to go down. You know?
All right.
I'm not even gonna waste a lot of breath. I'm like, you want to do this?
So choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman, score a hockey goal as the goalie, or score a soccer goal as the goalie.
I would go with hockey.
That's a very popular answer on this show.
I would go with hockey.
Yeah.
That's I've watched. I actually used to work for the National Hockey League at one point. Crazy. Yeah, it was right before I went back in the military. I worked for them for a little bit. So that was an interesting. I had a choice to work with them or the NBA, and I was like, nah, let me go with hockey because I would not get nothing done working for the NBA. So I actually learned a lot working for the National Hockey League, even though they work similar. You know, they're nonprofit organizations. Similar, everything is similar as far as rules. And I met Mr. Bettman and all that stuff. And I was actually working kind of directly for him a little bit. So it was interesting, you know. So I went to a couple of that's when the Rangers were good at one point. It was a while ago.
It was when the Rangers were good. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So so it was interesting, you know, that's an interesting sport, you know, as far as how everything is set up and how fast it is. And when live hockey is different than TV hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's if anybody who even is a little bit curious about hockey owes it to themselves to go see a live hockey game.
Yeah, that's
because it's not even the same game when you're watching it live versus on TV. It's just it's super intense.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I don't know all the rules, but just watching them back and forth, and it's just it was just a good thing to see.
So we do a notable smokable each week, and we talk about a cigar that we smoked recently that was interesting to us. It could be something that's been on the market for decades, or it could be something brand new to the market that we just tried for the first time. So is there anything, Chris, you smoked recently that really kind of caught your attention?
Other than my own stuff? No. No, we won't go there. I can say there's two actually. Well, one Leo gave me. He gave me and it's not on the market, of course, because it's a Cuban. It was a Romeo and Julieta Petit Churchill, I think it was.
Okay.
That cigar, it was like really first time I smoked a Cuban in a long time, a real one. You know, the one in Afghanistan from the Haji shop was probably somebody made in the back.
Yeah.
So he gave me that one. It was like incredible cigar. But recently I smoked a Dapper cigar. I can't remember which one it was. But it was the one with the black church on it. I can't. I you know, they have their little.
Is that the Kubo?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it was that one. Yeah, that was really, really, really good. I had the pleasure of having it because they don't have too many on the East Coast. They're starting to come to the East Coast. But the last time I was out in LA, I happened to grab one, and the guy said, "Hey, try this one. It's Dapper." I'm like, "Yeah, I've been seeing them," and I tried it. I'm like, "Wow, this is a good damn cigar."
Yeah.
So, you know, very different as far as what comes out of Aganosa. So
absolutely.
that's something I truly enjoyed, and that's why I kind of grabbed a bunch, you know, over the 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. So I had we're close with the guys over at Cigar Dojo, and they've done a lot of special releases with different
Mhm.
cigar companies over the years, and they just within the last few months put out this one that they call Gimmick, which was kind of fun. It came with like the artwork on it was 3D and meant to be viewed with 3D glasses, so they shipped it with 3D glasses. And
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
lost it. It's one of the Caldwell Lost and Found. So
Oh, okay.
really knowing where it came from, which factory, how long it's been around, it's really no way of knowing. And kind of here's a shout out to the retailer they went through for this particular cigar was Atlantic Cigar, and the cigars that I received when I bought a bundle of them had some molds on the cigars and weren't in the best shape. I contacted Atlantic, they fixed it immediately. The no questions asked, very easy to deal with, great people. So shout out to Atlantic Cigar for that.
Customer service.
And it's definitely not my favorite of all the Cigar Dojo special releases, but it is a good little cigar. So if there may still be some available from Atlantic, and I say check it out. I think it's a good little cigar.
Yeah, I had one of theirs. Was it No Smoke Alone? Don't smoke.
Oh, never smoke alone.
Never
That's
smoke
like
alone.
their tagline. Yeah.
Yeah. I had one of theirs, and like I missed it. It came out like a year before, and then they recently did it maybe about 4 months ago, and I grabbed some. I had to let them sit. The first time I smoked one, I was like, oh, don't smoke this one at all. But then I let it sit for a little bit. I'm like, ooh, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is really good. So,
yeah, they've always done fun releases with different companies, and they spread the love too. I mean, they've done releases with a lot of different cigar companies. So, so that's the notable smokables for the week. To give our viewers and listeners an idea of some stuff we have coming up in the next few weeks. Next Tuesday night, I can't believe next Tuesday is November already. We're going to talk to Abe, Honest Abe from Smoke Inn, and he's going to talk to us mainly about their great smoke event that obviously is one of the biggest cigar events, in the country. Because of COVID, it's going to be a special online virtual experience this year. And for anybody watching and listening, you absolutely want to tune in. I mean, you want to tune in every week to How About That Cigar Live. But next week, we have a huge giveaway package that's going to go to one lucky winner, a box full of awesome swag and cool stuff and some cigars. So definitely tune in next week, because one lucky viewer is going to win just a sick package of swag next week. The following week, we actually have double duty. So Tuesday, the 10th of November, we're going to talk to Ben Holt from Dissident Cigars. And the very next night, I'm not going to give away what the show is about, but the very next night on Wednesday, a special Wednesday night show on November 11th, we have a super special extravaganza show that night. And again, we have super killer guests, and I'm not going to give away the secret, but you want to clear your calendar for that Wednesday night as well as our regular Tuesday night slot.
I hope it's a veteran show.
What's that?
I hope it's a veteran show.
Well, Tuesday, Ben is a United States Marine Corps vet, and that's also the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. So we're going to celebrate the birthday of the Marine Corps on the 10th and celebrate Veterans Day on the 11th as well.
Okay.
So, Chris, give us an idea, for our viewers and listeners, where's the best place for them to keep up with the latest and greatest info from Carolina Blue Cigars?
I'm always posting something on Instagram. I'll probably start posting a lot more stuff, especially in the next week. I'm gonna really amp up everything. I'm gonna probably release some of the new Nicaraguan line next week on the website. So yeah, that's where you can catch me most of the time. I am on Facebook as well. A lot of my stuff is connected off of there, but I don't really post a lot on Facebook. And nothing wrong with Facebook, but just easy for me to do it on Instagram. But yeah, definitely catch us, with my people. You have Barrels and Leaves, you have Black Orchid, you have Heather and Smoke Easy, Table Talk, Cigar Brat, all those guys will definitely post what's coming out there. And you of course, hopefully. And just look out for what Carolina Blues get ready to do, and especially coming out of the the cigar bakery. You know, we're getting ready to do some exciting things. I'm very thrilled. You guys are going to be like totally in shock once it hits the news of what's going on with that factory right now. And you know, just, you know, support your boutique, you know, boutique companies. You know, we're doing amazing cigars. You know, I can't speak from I speak for myself. You know, I do some amazing shit. So, but you know, it is what it is. But it's some other people doing some amazing stuff as well. So you know, just support the little guys, and then, you know, keep smoking. You know, we appreciate everything.
Absolutely. Chris, man, I thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. We had a great time talking, and I hope you had a good time, you know, just chatting, and we wish you the best for your brand. And, you know, if you ever need anything, you know, just reach out to us. If you want us to, you know, give a shout out to a new release or press release, anything like that, just, you know.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think of that Figurado that you're going to smoke. And,
yes, absolutely.
I don't want you to drive all the way from Minnesota, be driving by my house like I've been catching people all the time talking about, you got some of that Figurado.
I can't promise anything. All right. Chris, thanks again.
Yes.
All right. For all our viewers and listeners, as always, if you guys have questions, find us online at howaboutthatcigar.com. If you have questions, you can email me. You can email Garrett directly from there. And you can also sign up for an email list for any new content that's coming out on the site. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at HBT Cigar. And until we see you guys next time, burn cigars, not bridges.
That's right. Burn them.